It was just this Christmas that went by, and things were getting busy. I had to start buying presents for the whole family. I had just finished shopping, but I still needed to grab a present for my little cousin. She's not very hard to shop for since my cousin is 4. She likes things like Peppa Pig and My Little Pony. She really liked, and I say like for a reason, Max and Ruby. So when I decided to go looking for a present, I figured something like a Max and Ruby DVD would have been perfect, since she liked to watch it on a daily basis. However, Christmas meant that many of the online DVDs were sold out on most places. I went to look on eBay as well as figured out I could not trust what the condition of the DVDs would have been in. So I was stuck in a rut for a while until that package arrived. I was at home still scrolling for a stupid DVD until I heard a sound of something being pushed into my letterbox. I caught a hold of it before my dog did and looked at the package. It seemed to be wrapped fairly badly, with what looked like grease marks and stains on it. Naturally, as anyone would, I decided to open the package. Inside was something that I could not explain. It was a Mac and Ruby DVD, but I had never seen one like it online. It was like some little kid had drawn on it on the front cover with a marker, and the title was just Max and Ruby, with what looked like a poorly drawn illustration of Max and Ruby on the front. There were no names or anything, but on the back it had a list of 4 episodes. I could have redrawn that cover. Episode 001, Episode 002, Episode 003, and Episode 004. I quickly gave the DVD a watch over. To my surprise, all the episodes were in perfect quality and seemed to have no flaws. It was as if a real DVD with a homemade cover. The only thing that appeared odd was the episode selection screen. The episodes had names, but they were all titled Max and Ruby, with the numbers being changed as it went down the list. The actual selection screen was just a plain white screen with black text and nothing else. After giving it much thought, I decided to change the cover to something a little nicer by printing out a DVD cutter I found on Google and tracked it down. The names of the episodes were labeled correctly, so I left the episode screen list alone because I figured it was self-explanatory. Christmas went by and things were fine. I gave my little cousin her DVD, and she was happy with it all through Christmas. But that was only because she hadn't watched it yet. On Boxing Day, the family had gone out for lunch and left me to babysit my cousin. I was not too bothered about being left at home. I figured it was now a good time to put on the DVD for her. I put the DVD in and allowed it to play while I was in the kitchen eating my dinner. From what I could hear, she would watch episodes 1 to 3 so far, so I was just about to finish off my noodles when I heard my cousin screaming from the other room. Dropping everything, I had run into the living room and saw my cousin curled up on the floor screaming. I had looked up at the TV, and I felt my heart in my throat. What I caught a glimpse of was one of the most horrifying things I had ever seen. It was what appeared to be a frame of Max and Ruby standing next to each other in complete darkness. But what made it so horrible was their lack of faces. They had lost their noses and mouths. Their eyes were replaced with big black holes. The colors were a disgusting blood red, and there was a faint static in the background. The sound was replaced with what sounded like the Max and Ruby theme playing backwards, with all the faint static and mix in it. Of it all. It had to be the most disturbing thing I had ever seen. It must have been on screen for at least 20 seconds before the screen went black and our television set turned off. Which was weird, because TVs don't phone usually turned off by themselves. I was able to calm my cousin down, telling her it wasn't real. She had just had a nightmare as she had fallen asleep in front of the TV. I knew in my mind it was completely real. My parents had rung me up and they told me that they were going to be out all night. So this was going to be the best opportunity to look at this DVD more closely. I didn't mention it to them, and as soon as I hung up, I grabbed the DVD before opening it on my laptop. As soon as I loaded, I noticed that episode 0004 had now been replaced with R.I.P. Mommy and Daddy, which sent a deep chill down my spine. Since my cousin was now asleep, I plugged in my earbuds, so... He? I thought the creepypasta said it was a she. Whatever. So she can sleep without having to hear anything. Normally an episode of Max and Ruby would feature 3 short stories, but this episode had only 1. It started off quite happy. Max and Ruby were playing tag in the garden and their parents were on the porch watching them play. However, something was off. The sound was playing in reverse and the parents' faces were that of sadness. It panned to the mother and father and in a deep voice of sorrow, the father spoke, "It's such a shame." Then it cut short to the sound of static and a loud scream followed by 2 people choking. The sounds felt so real it almost made me physically sick. The scene then switched to both Max and Ruby standing in front of what looked like a gravestone labeled R.I.P. Mommy and Daddy. The 2 of them had no faces. At this point there was no sound apart from the faint static. This scene remained on screen for about a minute and a half before it cut away to black. And then it changed scene again, now showing Max and Ruby sitting in Ruby's room. Both of them were sobbing, and the sobs were so realistic and heart-wrenching that it sounded like it was recorded from a real person mourning. What happened next was probably the most disgusting yet saddest thing I've ever witnessed. The scene had changed to Mask sitting in his room. Standing on a chair with a noose hanging from the ceiling. He placed the noose around his neck. My computer screen faded to black as the static got louder. Almost instantly, it then cut to Ruby walking in with her brother. She let out a horrific scream as the background turned black. The camera panned in on her face and the sound of the chair being kicked and the same choking from before began to play. The picture of Ruby's face then stayed on the screen for a good 5 minutes. This time her eyes had returned the same gaping holes. Ruby then started crying as before. There were no other facial features. The static slowly grew louder and drowned out the sound of her cries. And the scene cut to black with the loud static. When the screen returned, Ruby was standing now on her own in the garden by 2 gravestones. One was labeled R.I.P. Mommy and Daddy, and the other R.I.P. Brother. At this point I had already been sick and was sitting all shaken. The episode seemed to have come to an end at last. She then started to look at the camera with glowing blue pupils to speak at me. I will add in the audio if he says no. The screen had faded to black afterwards. At this point, I had already been sick and was sitting all shaken. The episode had seemed to come to an end at last, as the Max and Ruby theme played slowly in reverse. I was about to eject the DVD when the same image came up like it did on the TV. This time, however, there was text above the two rabbits that said, "Death is our only release." There were no credits or anything else. I just stayed on this for a few seconds before the DVD finally popped out of my laptop. I sat there trying to contemplate. I don't know how to pronounce that. What had happened? In my shock and fear, I made the stupid decision to break the DVD so much as I could before leaving the house. Shoved the pieces down the drain. Thankfully, I kept a few screenshots and saved them to my laptop. The next couple of days passed without anything unusual happening. I had a few nightmares about the DVD, but luckily that was all. My cousin had gone back home along with the rest of the family. It was a late night and my parents had gone out for dinner, leaving me to watch TV. I heard what sounded like someone pushing something through the door. At this point, the DVD had left my mind since I had not told anyone about it. However, it all came flying back when I looked down at the letter in front of me. It was a messy folded up